Welcome to Obscure Depths, my weekly show where I pick the NFL winners and losers, I guess, so to speak. Week 6 of the NFL, and unfortunately my Raiders are at Atlanta, but we'll get to that one in a second. First game tomorrow night, Thursday, Pittsburgh at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 5.5-point underdog at home. Pittsburgh appears to be playing some pretty good ball right now. Major network TV, major network, whatever, NFL network. Primetime game though, so, geez, I gotta take Tennessee. I'm gonna take Tennessee in the points in this. I think Tennessee's a pretty good home team. They showed that against Detroit, even though I don't think Detroit is as good as everybody think they are. But Tennessee is a pretty good team at home, especially. Kenny Britt's going to be healthy. I think Hasselbeck is going to have a better understanding of, and after 1 week of how things are working this year in the NFL. So I like Tennessee to hang within 5.5. So I'll take Tennessee in the points here in Thursday night's game. Next game, Kansas City at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, 3.5-point favorites at home. Tampa Bay has been an interesting team this year. Don't really know who they are exactly. But I don't like Kansas City on the road. We've certainly seen that anybody can score points against the Saints. And Kansas City certainly did that. But I just don't like KC on the road. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay minus 3.5. Hope I'm not going to regret that, but I think Josh Freeman and Doug Martin are both going to have big games in this one. And yeah, they should take this by touchdown. Indianapolis at New York. The Jets are favorites. They're 3.5-point favorites in this game. I got to take Andrew Luck and the Colts definitely. Then I think Donald Brown's going to have his best game of the year. I think the Jets are obviously proven they don't want to stop the run. Not that they can't, they just don't want to. So I think the Colts go in there and win this by 10 points. I mean, I know they showed some fight last week on Monday night, but I think the Colts are a far better team than people think they are right now, and they're going to go in there and win this thing, definitely. St. Louis at Miami. Interesting game here. Both these teams are kind of up and coming. I think Miami's a little bit better than people thought they were going to be. At least I thought they were going to be. They're certainly better than my Raiders, that's for sure. And I'm going to take the home team in this one. Miami's 3.5-point favorites at home. St. Louis, I really like them. I really think they got a lot of good things going, but the loss of Danny Amendola is certainly gonna hurt their offense going forward. Steven Jackson is not getting any younger either, so I like Miami. They're gonna win this thing by 3.5. Definitely. There's a lot of hooks so far this week. Every game has got that half-point hook on there. Interesting. But anyway, moving on, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Of course, Cleveland, 3.5-point dogs at home. The Bengals, I just don't know what to think of the Bengals this year. I want to believe in them, but for some reason it seems like they like to let us down when people start believing in them. But that being said, the 0-5 Cleveland Browns, do they get their first one this week in the state rivalry? I don't think so. I tell you what, I'm going to take Cleveland, but I think it's going to be a 1 or 2 point game. I'm going to take Cleveland in the points, but I unfortunately don't think they're going to win. Dallas at Baltimore. Baltimore 3.5-point favorites at home. Again with the hook. Jeez, there's a lot of hooks this week. What does that say about this year's NFL? Anyway, Dallas. They struggled against that awesome Bears defense who I think is getting older. And I think Baltimore's defense is a little bit older, but they're still pretty good, and they're good at home. So I'm going to take Baltimore in this one. Minus 3.5. Not crazy about it, but I'm going to take them. Atlanta, 8.5-point favorites, hosting the Raiders. If I had any reason to believe in my Raiders this year, I would take them, but I just don't. I think Atlanta offensively is probably the best team in the league, and my Raiders aren't the best at anything right now. So let's go Atlanta minus 8.5. I think I'd probably pick them if they were minus 10 too. So, but I really like Atlanta. It's not a lock, but I like Atlanta minus 8.5. Detroit at Philadelphia. Philly 5.5-point favorites again with the hook. I think every game has a hook today. Interesting. But anyway, Detroit can't stop anybody. People keep ragging on Philly. You know, they're 3-2. They're 3-2. They just lost to Pittsburgh last week. So now they're returning home, hosting the Detroit team who, let's face it, has taken a big step back defensively. A lot of speed, a lot of youth in this game. I think Philly's going to win this by a touchdown, definitely. So I'll take Philly minus 5.5. I think Vic's going to have a decent game. I think it could be a little bit of a shootout. Definitely more points scored than the 30 or so that were scored in that Pittsburgh-Philly game last week. But I'd like to see the points get up there in this one, definitely. Mainly because Matthew Stafford's my fantasy quarterback. That's probably why I'm saying that. But I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout, like a 34-28 type of win for Philadelphia. So, moving on, New England at Seattle. New England 3.5-point favorites at Seattle. Seattle's a tough place to play. Tom Brady does not go there very often, and that is a big, long plane ride. That being said, I think New England got everything moving for them right now. They got all their gears have been greased, and they are ready to challenge whoever. So I like New England in this one to win by a touchdown. I know Seattle's a tough place to play. That's why I'm saying it's only going to be a one-score game. But I think that one score will be 7 points. So I think New England like 30-23 in this one, or 24-13, something like that. So 24-17, we'll say. But yeah, I think New England will definitely take this by more than 3.5. So I'll take New England minus 3.5. Buffalo at Arizona. Who in their right mind would pick Buffalo in this game? Arizona surprised us all by going 4-0. Yes, they lost last week at St. Louis, but they're returning home and they are going to be pissed. And Buffalo, I think, has scored 6 points in the last 2 weeks or something like that. I don't know. They are terrible. Maybe they scored more than that. Whatever. But they are terrible right now. They're terrible. They can move the ball offensively, but defensively they don't want to stop anybody. And come on, Alex Smith just threw for 300 yards against them. Come on. Yeah. No way. Arizona minus 4.5 in this game. Definitely 10 points. 21-10 or something like that in this game. I love Arizona in this game. Minnesota at Washington. Washington is 2.5-point dogs at home. I think at one point in time I said Minnesota might only be favored in a couple games this year. Tell you what, Minnesota is playing some good ball. Florida State alum Christian Ponder, is excelling a lot quicker than people would think. People thought he was going to do this year, and I like Minnesota in this one. They just got to win by a field goal. They got that little hook in there, but they just got to kick a field goal at home, on the road to win this. I think they're going to go in there because, Washington missing some key defensive guys are going to get a whole lot of Adrian Peterson, and that just spreads things open for Jerome Simpson and Percy Harvin. So I think Minnesota goes in there and wins this game by probably a touchdown. Washington is just, they've been kind of a night and day difference. We don't know what's going on with RG3. Cousins doesn't have all the reps, even if he has to start, he's getting reps this week, but he doesn't have all the reps this season. So Washington's going to take a little bit of a step back and lose to Minnesota at home. Giants at San Francisco. What a big game this is. And can you believe that San Fran is a 6.5-point favorite in this game? I know the Giants have struggled this year, but that is a huge, huge spread. That being said, I do like San Fran in this game. but they are not going to win by 6.5. So I'm going to take the Giants in the points at San Fran. This game is obviously going to be a little contentious. You know, they met in the playoffs last year. This is the game that everybody, I'm sure, is looking forward to. But I think the Giants are going to hang. You know, the Giants, they struggle in that division, and I think San Fran would struggle in that division too. The NFC East is a very strong division, and the Giants have struggled so far in some games that we didn't think that they were going to. But they're going to be up for this game. This is a mature offensive team that knows how to play in big games, and they're going to I'll easily take the Giants 6.5 points. Giving me 6.5 points, I'll take them against anybody in the NFL. I'll take them against Atlanta. I'll take them against Houston, given 6.5 points. Green Bay at Houston. Houston 5.5 point favorites. Some people might be a little wary of Houston because they didn't bury the Jets like they were supposed to on Monday night. But you know what? Houston has never plays on Monday night. You know, this is a young, growing team, and yes, they did lose a big key component in Brian Cushing. But you know, I think that Green Bay is not very good, and that's just the unfortunate reality that their season has been so far. They lost Cedric Benson. I know he hasn't been lighting the world on fire, but they're going to have some issues at running back. They're going to try to figure out if it's going to be Green or Starks who's going to carry the load. And you do not want to be trying to figure out who's going to be your running back for the next 8 or so weeks against a team like Houston. Houston is the best defensive team in football. I've said it before. I will say it again. I'm going to say it next week. But they're going to win this game by a touchdown. Easy, maybe 10 points. Green Bay is not that good, and they will struggle on the road at Houston. Denver at San Diego. San Diego minus 2.5. San Diego's favored by 2.5 at home against Denver. I like Denver in this one. I don't like Phillip Rivers. I think Peyton Manning has suffered some bad losses so far, and they're going to go into San Diego and they're going to beat them. This has been Obscure Depths. We're a division of Metal Fraker Productions. Find us on Facebook. Thank you and goodbye.